So one of those is this really just about the relationship between Henry and Wolsey, or should we think about Wolsey's rivals, Wolsey's enemies? Were there people whom Wolsey needed to push out of the way in order to maintain power, or at least to make submissive towards himself and his exercise of power? Were there other people who worked with Wolsey but then perhaps turned against him? And we might think here first of all of other bishops. It's clear that Wolsey has to push Archbishop Warham, the Archbishop of Canterbury, to some extent out of the way. He certainly loses the post of Lord Chancellor to Wolsey, and there are problems over Wolsey's exercise of power in the church and Warham's unhappiness with it. Similarly, some of the nobility are clearly unhappy with the kind of power that Wolsey exercises, and of course the Duke of Buckingham is executed in Wolsey's tenure of power, having supposedly had a list of people he would have executed if he became king, of which Wolsey was at the top. And similarly, David Starkey, in particular looking at the King's Privy Chamber, has shown that Wolsey was keen to have young courtiers around the king who were favourable to him, who would talk to the king, presumably about Wolsey's policies in a positive way, and help him, for example, to manage the obtaining of the king's signature on documents. So Wolsey and the king don't operate in a vacuum. They operate with other people around them. And in the 1520s, it looks pretty clear that Anne Boleyn in particular decides that Wolsey is not favouring the divorce and therefore starts to work against him. And similarly, some of the other big political players at court, like the Dukes of Norfolk and Suffolk, appear by the end of Wolsey's ministry to have turned against him and to be encouraging the king to remove him. So that's one of the complications one has to add in.